Good morning, everybody. It's LSP. It's currently the 27th of May, 2022. So we'll do a quick market rundown as a morning review. And then if I can get around to it, I'll do a live session later this afternoon, roughly around about the New York Open time again. The reason that today's a bit more important than most days is because it's options expiration today. So obviously, as I was saying yesterday, the most important thing, at least that we're looking for, is that we need to see price stay where it is, post or going into options expiration, then post, options expiration. If that happens, there is a good chance that we'll see some upside movement, okay, which is obviously what we want to see. But are we seeing any signs of this in the chart? That give us a clue as to, that kind of unfolding. Well, it's quite interesting because if you look at the 4-hour chart here, as we've seen many times, we can see that we had that last portion yesterday that just dipped down below these lows. We've had a little bit of a response and now we're just slowly starting to bleed lower again. Well, this is quite interesting because if we continue to go lower, going into options expiration, it is possible that some may think that this is, a short selling opportunity. Obviously the weekly confirms this. There's plenty of movement to the downside in terms of range that it can go into. There's a target down here at 20,000. It's been spoken about, a lot. There's been many people that are saying we're potentially going to crash and all of this sort of doom and gloom, and so on. So it would kind of make sense, that we pop to the upside. I actually posted in the Discord today, and if you're not in my Discord, the link is in the description below. You're all welcome. But I posted in there today, that a pop to 31,000 is possible. When I jumped on the screens this morning and I was just kind of having a look at the way things are unfolding, I got that sneaky suspicion that we're going to be surprised by Bitcoin. This, of course, doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen at all. Yeah, but in my experience, if it happens, it would not surprise me at all. And also, because I'm always looking for confirmation, it doesn't matter if it does or it doesn't, because I'm looking for that moment in time that gives me confidence to say, yep, I'm happy to start engaging in the markets again. I'm currently holding a position which is dependent on what happens today. And I'm being cautious. I was actually going to sell that position out this morning, and I just want to kind of wait for options expiration because I believe, that it may be a little bit higher than current price. Okay. Now the reason I'm saying that is because I want to illustrate a point in terms of what we do as investors or traders. We are always playing the risk. We're always calculating that risk. Is it better to do A, or is it better to do B, or is it better to do C? There's no black and white. There's plenty of shades of grey, and we want to be putting ourselves in the best possible position. But ultimately, we're always going to be forced, sometimes to make decisions that we're not really sure, are the best decision, but it's the right decision based on what's going on in the market at the moment. And as much as I try to remain as neutral and as objective as possible with my analysis, I still have to pull the trigger just like everybody else. So I'm going to be patient. I believe we may see 31,000 today. Would be quite interesting. If it doesn't happen, obviously, then we can just continue, with the analysis as it is. We already know, like I said, where price could potentially end up anyway if it continues to the downside. I don't really like this chart. Let me go over to this one and jump up to the weekly. We already know where price is going. We know that this key level down here is obviously max pain level. No surprise that lined up right. And it's actually quite interesting because the 1 month max pain level is actually down at 25,000, so it's a little bit lower, which again would line up with where the liquidity is down here. It doesn't mean price is going to go down there, but this key level right here needs to hold. And like I said, going into options expiration would be nice if it kind of just dips, hits sort of sub 28,000, and then pops to the upside to take out all of these highs here. So these wicks, these highs, these tails, and just starts to eat into this, maybe a little bit higher. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, we're going to be monitoring this throughout the day and see what happens. Obviously, there's been a bit of a stave off on Binance, expected, to come into this area. As I was saying, it needs to get back above this level now. here to confirm that it wants to go to 330, 340, 350, and possibly even 360. And again, we're just going to have to be patient. The cool thing about Binance is in an area where it's already showing a little bit of relative strength anyway. So if it holds here and holds around about the sort of 290 to 300, maybe a little bit less, we'll call it 285 to sort of 300, while Bitcoin is kind of just staving off and maybe bleeding a little into its liquidity during options expiration and then obviously post options expiration. If it pops, we'll get some really nice movement on Binance as well. Ethereum is showing no indication that it wants to stop at this point. It was already weak to start with. There are a bunch of lows down here that I feel confident, that price is going to be driving towards sort of 1650 at least, with a look to sort of 1400 if things get really, really sort of bad, which would put miners in a pretty precarious situation. For those of you that mine, it's an interesting one, because if price does get to a point where it's not profitable, to mine anymore, they've got to turn them off. I mean, nobody's going to pay, to mine unless, one, they've got plenty of money, and two, they really believe in Ethereum, and actually mining it and keeping it to hold for a very, very long time. I believe at some point Ethereum's going to be 5.8, between 5.8 and 6,000, and that will be post-merge. But for me, I'm watching Ethereum very closely, very, very closely. From a mining standpoint, I'm keeping an eye on the the hash rate, the current hash rate, and so on, and I want to see if that slowly, at least slows down in terms of the increase of hash rate, because it's been increasing quite exponentially. But I want to see if that slows down, and if it does slow down, it's going to be a good indication, that people are turning their miners off, and then obviously we'll see that reflected in the hash rate as well, which would be quite interesting. So we'll keep an eye on everything as always. I will jump on a little bit later, pre-market open. I want to see what the futures are saying, in terms of the US equities market, and then maybe jump over to some Forex as well, because I know there's a lot of people that kind of watch my content that have expressed an interest in Forex, and obviously this is something that I know a lot about. I've been trading Forex for a very, very long time, and very experienced in Forex. So maybe I'll start to throw in some Forex pairs as well, and we'll take a look at those. And then hopefully, if I can get to it, I'll do a live session as well. But with all of that said, just a quick side note as well, the Rematic Finance website is up and running now. That's rematic.finance. So please go ahead, take a look at the website. There are a few, little things that still need to be fixed, which we'll get around to at some point today, possibly tomorrow. But yeah, so when you're going through the site, you may see a few spelling mistakes and things, but that'll all get corrected. But ultimately, the site's up and running. We wanted to put it out there. So rematic.finance, go and take a look. Let me know what you think. And with all of that said, I hope everyone's having an absolutely fantastic morning, wherever you are in the world. And I look forward to speaking to you sometime later today. All the best. Take care and ciao, ciao.